Hi everyone. This week on Professor Carp's Toy Train Emporium, we're going to take a look at the very first Lionel item I ever bought in my life. Hi everyone, it's Roger Carp, Senior Editor at Classic Toy Trains magazine, taking you on a trip back in time, 1958. It was a great time to be a little boy in Los Angeles. The Dodgers had come from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, and I had my first heroes besides my dad, Duke Snider and Don Drysdale. It was also an exciting time for me because back in 1956, I had received my first Lionel train set. I played with it all the time and spent a lot of hours going through the catalog. I wanted more. And I was able, in 1958, I was only 7 years old, but I was saving up my nickels and dimes. I was doing whatever extra chores I could do around the house because I wanted to add to my layout. But I had to start small. And I started with something that many of you might have started with. The first thing that I bought with entirely my own money was a number 310 Billboard set. Here it is. From 1958. Beautiful box, isn't it? And I bought it, and what I got, as you look in front, I got 5 billboards, including 5 plastic frames. I love the billboard sets. In fact, if you remember from my book, 101 Classic Toy Trains, I rank this as number 100, and I think it's an important item. I think that so many of us were able to afford this and consider it our first accessory. But I have to admit, once I got it home and I looked at what I had, I was a bit confused. Let me show you why. There were 5 billboards. Well, this one advertised Chevrolet. I knew about Chevys, but my mom drove an Oldsmobile and my dad drove a Buick. So close, but not quite home for me. Then I looked at this one, Arex. It involved fishing, and I knew my last name was Carp, and that was a fish, so I felt a little bit threatened. Purolator, what in the world was that? Was that medicine? I didn't want to take more medicine. I had no idea what a purolator was. Took me a long time before I figured out it was something else for a car. So again, it probably would have looked good on a Chevy, but didn't mean a lot to me. Then we get to the one thing I knew about, Wrigley's gum. Yeah, I like to chew gum. We weren't allowed to at school, of course, but I did like to chew it. So that was one I could identify with. The 5th one, the U.S. Navy, well, that was years ahead. Just reminded me of how much fun it was to watch Popeye the Sailor Man every night on Channel 5. But the billboards were still cool to put on my layout. They mean even more to me now because through my years of research, I've come to learn about how Lionel got involved in the billboard business, how in 1949, Joe Hansen, the advertising manager, worked with Standard Billboard Company to add this to the Lionel line, and later his successor at Lionel, Jacques Zucker, whom I had the pleasure of interviewing and talking with many times, he told me how some of these sponsors came aboard and he was able to get them to do billboards. So I look at my billboards now, they bring back great memories of a 7-year-old and the history that as an adult I've come to learn and love about Lionel. Thanks very much. My recommendation, go out and get some billboards. We'll see you next time.
Roger Carp is a nationally known expert in the field of toy train history. Read his articles in every issue of Classic Toy Trains magazine. Subscribe today by going to classictoytrains.com/sub. Thanks for watching.